Hi everybody, this is Carrie. Today I was inspired by a radio show that I was listening to. It's DNTO, which is a CBC radio show. The topic of the radio show was when you say the completely wrong thing to someone, and while listening to the show I was reminded of this one time early in my time in Korea when I completely said the wrong thing and series of things and the funny consequence of that. So this is the story of how I insulted and kept insulting a Korean CEO. So let me give you a little bit of context for this story. This was my second time in Korea. This is in 2009. I was living in Incheon and I was working for Hagwon, which is a private language institution. I was teaching mostly grade 1 to 6 and I had a lot of grade 4 students. So they were really fun and everybody at the Hagwon knew that I was like really passionately studying Korean at the time. Even though I was studying a lot, my Korean was not that great at that point, like pretty limited and uninformed. So that's kind of the context. What happened? Well, I have a friend that I met back in 2006 when I first came to Korea. His name is Musuk and he's about 50 or 60 years old, and he is a potter and an artist, and that's his profession. And I crossed paths with him through some friends a few years ago and just really liked him. He's a totally crazy, fun-loving, loves the noraebang, like just a really fun person to be around, and he's very passionate about travel and language, and he loves to have tea ceremonies, so whenever I see him we have tea together, and it's just a very interesting person to be friends with. So knowing Musuk, often when I visit him, we'll get into strange situations where we'll be having tea and then someone will walk in and someone else will walk in, and all of a sudden I'm having tea with like, I don't know, 8 police officers, and I don't know who they are, and they're speaking Korean, and I'm kind of like chiming in with my, you know, little casual Korean here and there, and they're like, oh, the Canadian speaks Korean, and it's just silly. And then we'll go out for like a Lao fish dinner where I don't eat the raw fish, so I have to like pretend that I'm eating it, and generally it's hilarious. And then we drink soju, and then we go to the noraebang, and then we dance, and it's all just always really fun and always unpredictable. So that's the thing about Musuk, is everything's unpredictable. You never really know what you're gonna get, where you're gonna go. And I would say that's true for a lot of situations in Korea. Even with my bosses, sometimes you'll get in a car and they're like, okay, we are going now, and you're like, where are we going, or what are we doing? We're going for a meal, or we're going for a hike? I don't know. Like sometimes you're not really given all the information in Korea, so I feel like Musuk totally fits that. There's just some sort of like things left unsaid sentiment about a lot of Korean experiences that I've had, so Musuk is no exception. I went to visit Musuk. He lives in Cheongju, so I went to visit him there. I think I was traveling around Korea at the time, maybe during Chuseok or something, I forget. Anyway, I went to visit, and he picked me up from the bus station, and we just started driving. I thought we were going to go to his studio and, you know, I'd see the new art that he was making, and we'd had some tea. But instead he said, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, and I was like, sure. So we just kind of drove out of the city, and we're kind of in the countryside, and then we come up to this like new looking city, and we just park the car and we go into this really nice building, go up to the 2nd floor. I was feeling kind of like embarrassed because we're in this like really fancy looking building. So I'm just like this idiot foreigner following. The man like bows and greets us as we walk in, and Musuk just like books it. Like he knows where he's going, so I was just like just followed him awkwardly. So then we went into this room, and the 3 of us sit down. Musuk tells me in English, this is my friend and he is the CEO of this company, and I don't remember what kind of company it is, but he's the CEO, so he's a big deal, very important person, probably very wealthy. Musuk introduced us, and then classic Musuk, he just walks away. I don't know where he went. I don't know what he was doing, but he just was like, okay, and he just left the room. So I'm in the room with this like important CEO guy, not knowing at all what I'm gonna do. I heard him say to the CEO in Korean, he was like, "That's okay, she speaks Korean." And I was thinking like, oh, no I don't, what am I gonna do? So I just remembered all the information that my students had been teaching me, because you know, I come to them with phrases and they're like, no, 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 you should say this, you should say this, don't say that, nobody says that, you should say this. So they were effectively giving me Korean lessons while we were studying English in class. The first thing that happened is he asked me, as a typical exchange in Korea, he said, "커피 좋아요?" You know, like, do you want me to make you a little cup of gross instant coffee? That was like sugary, and so I was like, sure. Well, yeah, I said about sure in Korean. I said, 좋아, which is completely inappropriate. To say as yes in Korean it's 반말. It's the like casual form, and you only use that with people who are younger than you or friends and family, like people who are close to you. Like you would never say this to A, a stranger, and B, someone who's older than you. So that was like number one bad thing. 좋아. And 좋아, I should have said 네, 좋아요. Like I should have been more formal than I was. So that, I remember that distinctly. And then we just kind of chatted. He asked me, 어느 나라, like what country are you from? And I said, Canada. He said something like 한국말 잘한다 or something, like complimented my Korean. And I said 고마워, like thank you. But it was more like, thanks bro, like completely not okay to say 고마워. But my little students, my little grade 4s were like, you can say 고마워, you don't need to say 감사합니다, you can say 고마워. So I was saying 고마워 like all the time. I was just practicing like sounding natural, and the conversation just kind of kept going like this. I proceeded to insult him more and more and more. Basically, I should have been using 존댓말, which is like the normal politeness level, like adding 하세요 or 해요 at the end of sentences, but I wasn't. My students had told me that if you want to ask a question, you just say 하지 at the end. I was like such a crazy person. I just asked him, 결혼하지? A, you shouldn't ask someone like that, especially as a young woman to an older man. You shouldn't ask that. But I was just like, I know the word 결혼, so I'm gonna say 결혼. So yeah, so that was a big like fail. We kept talking, and Musuk was still gone. I asked him some other questions ending in 하지, 가족 있지, like do you have family? And I think he told me about his daughter had been in Canada, so we kind of bonded over that. I just kept using 반말 with him, and I'm pretty sure he's never in his life had a stranger use 반말 to him, so he must have been like either extremely angry or like this idiot foreigner is such a douchebag. Like I don't know, but I thought I was doing fine. Like I didn't realize that I was insulting him, obviously, because I just was not well informed at that time. Also, my Korean education was coming from YouTube and from grade 4 students. You know, I was listening to them use casual language with each other, so that was kind of my my surroundings at the time. So I just kept chatting with him. I think I told him about my family and my job and playing music and how I met Musuk, and just kind of telling him stuff and asking him stuff, which I also know now is totally inappropriate. Like when you meet an older person in Korea, you should generally not like pose a lot of questions and like demand things from them. So I probably should have been a little bit like more respectful and just simply let him start the conversation or let him do things, but instead I was just like, la la la, I know these words, so I'm just gonna like say everything I know. So I think I asked him like when his birthday was and all sorts of like crazy things that are completely inappropriate. So yeah, lots of 반말 was happening, but you know, he seemed entertained. I mean, he seemed like he wasn't bothered, obviously, or I would have noticed. After maybe 10 minutes or so, Moosuk came back into the room, and I think I was telling him about my YouTube channel. I think I was telling him, like, I make movies, and I don't know what I was saying. I really don't remember, but Moosuk came in the room, and he just said,
"Carrie, stop. You are insulting my friend."
And I went, like, beet red, and my heart stopped, and I was just like, oh, like, what, and he said,
"You should be using 존댓말 with my friend."
So that was really embarrassing. I felt my cheeks go like bright red, and they had a little conversation in Korean that I didn't understand, and I guess he was like apologizing for me, and then the CEO just laughed. He was just like, probably thinking this is absurd, and maybe he never had the opportunity to have someone talk to him in Banmal other than his kids or his wife. So we finished our coffee, the little you know, paper cup instant coffee that is, you know, everywhere in Korea, and I think I said goodbye, and I think I overdid the goodbye. I don't even know what I said, but I think I like added like 입니까 or 입니다 or 씁니다 or some kind of like big ending to the end, and then they were just like he went 안녕, and I was just like 안녕, and it was terrible. So then I got in the car with Moosuk, and he just went through all the different registers in Korean with me and made sure that I understood the difference between 반말, like casual language, 존댓말, the like appropriate in the news, all that, and then 높임말, like for extreme formality. So I got a lecture, and I felt pretty bad, but I also think I was charming. I think I charmed that CEO. I think he, even though I was insulting him, I think he was having a good time. He didn't look fussed at all. He looked like he was having a nice conversation with me. So I think I charmed him, although I did something bad. Yeah, so that's the story of saying the wrong thing, and in my case, continuing to say the wrong thing without really knowing it, and thinking you're all confident, and really you're completely on another planet. So that's my story. So thank you to DNTO for suggesting this topic and having that very, very funny radio show that you guys should listen to. It's like an hour long, just a whole bunch of crazy stories of people saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. And there's a very funny example of a guy who says absolutely the wrong thing at a Japanese funeral, and it made me laugh. So check it out. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel for more videos about Korea, or, you know, life and travel and all sorts of stuff. 좋은 하루 되세요. Have a very nice day, guys, and see you in the next video. 다음에 볼게요.